Hello, it's Carol Dianca here, the Italian nutritionist. And I don't know where you are with your plant-based journey and if you're just starting or have been on a plant-based eating plan for a while. But I wanted to share with you a few things that I wish I would have known when I started my plant-based diet more than 10 years ago now. And I have 4 things that I wish I would have known when I started. And so I'd like to pass them on to you in case you have any of the same issues or challenges. So first of all, regarding plant-based diets and plant-based eating plans, wish I would have known there are a lot of different there's a lot of different variation between plant-based. Oh my gosh, when I first got started in it, I didn't know if I wanted to follow the Nutrarian or the Flexitarian or the no oil, obviously the no sugar, a straight vegan diet. There are just so many ways that we can have variations in plant-based that I want you to just be aware of that so that you don't get caught up and follow one influencer or one authority that tells you exactly what you should eat. Plant-based means whole foods that are plant-based, and there's many ways to define that and to go forward in your plant-based diet journey that way. So what you need to do is really find what works for you. If you are battling with heart disease, that's going to have a little different slant on plant-based. If you have diabetes, that's another one where you'll have to really watch the sugars, even the natural sugars in plant-based foods. If you have a kidney disease, then you have to be very careful about the protein content. And I'm not diagnosing here and I'm not prescribing here, but I just want to give you a bit of an outline on how plant-based can vary, and it can vary with your needs. So that's an important thing that I wish I would have known at first, because I was carrying the banner that everyone should go plant-based. And even when they did, I learned from counseling patients and clients that plant-based can mean different things and have a different slant depending on what you're trying to accomplish. The second thing that I wish I would have known is that junk food exists in the plant-based world. So big business and marketing and the marketing wizards and big business have come up with the realization that plant-based is taking off. It's important. People want more of it. And so they're manufacturing foods that's called plant-based, and certainly 50 steps back before these foods were processed, it was a plant. But at this point, it's really not a plant-based. It's not whole food. And when I say whole food, that isn't an advertisement for whole food stores. I mean whole, untouched food. And so that can exist. And when I started, again, seeing patients and clients, I saw vegans and vegetarians that would come in for counseling that were really not real healthy, and realized that they get caught up, and it's very easy to happen in the marketing of plant-based and ending up with vegan junk food. So anything that's labeled plant-based that has a label probably isn't 100% plant-based. So that was something that I wish I would have known early on. Another thing, and maybe it's just a realization that, I want to pass along, and that would be number 3 here. And number 3 is that plant-based eating is not a religion, and sometimes it can become like a religion. And when you make a mistake or you eat something you really know you shouldn't, that plant-based is not so restricted. If you make a mistake, you go back again. If you learn something from a craving that you have, you go back again and you just correct that. So I've seen groups of various plant-based groups of eaters that make it almost as a religion. It's almost like a private club, and if you don't belong to that club, you're on the outside. I know there's social pressure. I know there are things that come up. There are birthday parties and there are dinners and there are places where there's pressure to eat foods that are not plant-based. And however you manage that, you manage it. In the beginning, if people would say to me, well, why are you eating plant-based foods? Why aren't you eating X, Y, or Z? I would just try to disarm that and say, it's working. It just works for me. And so I'm giving this a try, and just kind of diffuse it. But don't make it a religion. And then the last thing is that, and that it would be number 4, which I wish I would have known when I started on this journey, is that we don't necessarily have to give up everything that we've ever eaten in our life and turn it into something that's just plant-based. If you have a strong food culture in a background, for me it was Italian, I was not going to erase everything in my food culture. Food cultures are important, and they can be very helpful. And every food culture does have some foods that are beneficial for us. There's a Mexican food culture, the Asian, obviously the Mediterranean, the Italian, the African, and all of these food cultures do have some very good basic foods that if they haven't been destroyed by the standard American diet, that can still be part of a diet. So I hope that this has been helpful. There are 4 things I wish I would have known. I'm happy to pass these on to you. If you like this video and you gained from the information, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you will. And I'll be back to talk to you again soon for other tips I can pass on. Thank you so much.